Episode 3, Game 3 of our World Series recap Zoomcasts. And we're here with Cody Turner to recap Game 3. A little recap. Chapman took the first game. Mac Chili had a couple big RBI singles for us in that one. Gave us a nice win to start it off against Washington Jefferson, who you guys faced off against on Game 3. But then, UMass Boston jumped on Tyler Peck early in Game 2 and rode that to a win, even though you guys fought back, and I think you had the tying run at the plate when the game ended. So obviously you weren't out of it, but you came in Game 3, and it was a close one. And again, it was kind of the same story where the recipe all year had been starters get to you, and then you get to Garcia. When it was Tyler Peck pitching, it was an All-American to Cody, to another All-American, and so that was the recipe all year, and that kind of didn't play out in games 2 and 3.
Yes.
But before we get to that, I forgot to ask you, how's quarantine life, and how was finishing up school remote and all that kind of good stuff?
Quarantine's going all right. Luckily, I'm still here in Orange, playing just with the guys here at the house, just messing around. We're working out a lot. We kind of built a home gym in our garage, so we have a full set of weights, full rack, everything. Which is kind of the reason why I want to stay here, because I know if I had gone home, I wouldn't have a place to work out. And plus, I have the guys here, which kind of helps with the quarantine and everything like that. I don't have to sit at home and do absolutely nothing. I still have friends here that I can hang with. And school ended really well. I was a little nervous going into it with online and everything like that, trying to make sure I still maintained my grades going into senior year. But I did well. I still maintained where I wanted to be, and it wasn't too difficult. So
glad you finished it up, and you're on track to graduate next year, and I'm sure your parents are probably happy with that too.
Yes.
So before we even get into Game 3 specifically, that was kind of where we are in the week here on June 2nd. In the postseason, now, first of all, Cody led the nation in appearances last year. Had the most appearances of any Division III player in all of Division III. That's 400 plus schools. So rubber arm award, if you will. For you 32 appearances, I believe.
Yeah.
So you pitched a lot during the regular season. It wasn't like we just brought you in out of nowhere. But in the postseason, I want to read your line for the postseason for everybody. This includes the SCIAC tournament all the way through the national championship. You were 1-0 with a 1.13 ERA and 9 appearances. Now, our postseason was 17 games long. So you pitched in over half of those games. You pitched 16 total innings. You allowed just 9 hits in those 9 appearances in 16 innings. 2 runs came in 1 outing, and that was a 9-4 win over Whitman. So I think that you were kind of just eating up innings at that point. I think we were ahead when you came in.
Okay.
7 walks and 11 strikeouts. So there was 1 outing in those 9 appearances in which you gave up a run. You gave up 2 in that one, but that was it. You had 8 scoreless appearances, goose eggs all over the place. In the World Series, it got even better. What was it? Did you find? Did you find another gear? Did you take some of the Space Jam magical water? Did you find MJ's magical water there that you chugged before this postseason started, or what was the key to all that?
I knew, one of the big things I have to test it to is Coach Edwards, who really sat all the pitchers down, and he said, you know what, if there's going to be a time that you need to perform, you need to come out here and do something, it's going to be this time. And, I really took that to heart, and I kind of sat there and I was all like, all right, I know how to pitch. I've been doing this my whole life, I know what I need to do. I've done it right. I've done it wrong. So I kind of just took a step back from everything and said, all right, this is the time that I need to do it right. And really that mentality going into the whole entire postseason kind of just helped me ride the whole experience. And it was just, I look back on it now, and I was like, it was just fun. So that's what added to the drive and the success I had, was that I just kind of was having fun with it. I know that I have a team that's going to back me up, especially with the hitters we had at that time. I knew we were going to score runs. I could mess up, and I knew we still had them. And that kind of drive really pushed me further than I had ever been.
And now you can't tell me that you felt 100% going into the postseason or into the World Series. You had to feel a little bit tired. Did you feel that in your arm, or did adrenaline just push you through, or What was it like?
Adrenaline was a big part of that. I mean, it was definitely tired. I mean, that's a lot of games, a lot of time. But when you're in that setting and you know, like, this is for all the marbles, adrenaline is a big key factor in that whole experience. But I knew, and I also knew, just like, I had to push through that, like the exhaustion and all that stuff, just because we needed me, we needed Garcia, we needed all our starters, we needed those, and Riley especially, he came in and helped out a huge time as well. We needed all these guys to push through whatever exhaustion they had, and we did, and everybody was able to do that.
Now, you got your feet wet in game one. You had an inning pitched, I think, in there.
I think so.
In the first game, an inning or two, you and Guard combined for the last three there after Hernandez. But so you got your feet wet there, and so you get called into the bullpen for your second one. And now you're in the losers bracket, so it's a little bit, the mentality's got to be shifted a little bit. It's win or go home at this point.
Yes.
And Mason, we'll always remember Mason for that last game.
Exactly.
And that that shutout in the clincher, but that wasn't the same Mason that pitched in game 3 against Washington and Jefferson. He he struggled a bit, and he only made it through three complete innings, pitched into the fourth, got into a jam, and then Lav went to you. So tell us about your mindset kind of going into that situation. And actually, I got the
that was definitely one of the, I mean, I've been in a lot of tough you gonna play it?
I'm gonna play it right here. We're gonna turn the sound off so you can talk though. So actually you can keep going because I skipped forward a little bit.
Okay. So yeah, I have bases loaded at this point. And my first outing, I'm stressed out because this is probably one of the biggest situations I've been in my college career. And so yeah, go ahead.
So you came in and like I said, you were lights out. There was one hit you gave up. There was 2 hits I think you gave up in the whole World Series, and this is one of them. Again, a tough spot. No bases loaded, no outs. Yeah. I think you're 1-1 or 2-1 on this guy. And then you leave that one. Probably it looks like you left it a little over middle. Probably wanted a little more outside.
Yes.
That's probably what happened to that one. He puts it in the right field, but you give up the one.
Yeah.
So what was going through your mind at that point where now you're still in trouble because the bases are still loaded?
Yeah. I'm like, all right, like let's take a step back. Let's really think about what we need to do. And the biggest part about this whole entire thing is we need to minimize now. I can give up one. I'm okay with giving up one. But I got to minimize it to that one. I don't want to give up more than that. So I give my guys, my hitters, a chance to really come back and get this. And then this is the at bat that really changed the whole entire momentum of this inning. So yeah, right here after I threw that ball, and I was a little rattled because I had just given up that single, and there's a point where Joe kind of like, he gets like this mentality in him, and he kind of really like makes you want to lock in. And throughout this whole AB, he's like, he points to his eyes, and throughout this whole inning, really, he points to his eyes and like, watch me. So that was a big pitch. I needed that, make it back to even. And
then we'll skip ahead here. Here's what happens in this one. You get a little jam shot to Aaron, who makes a nice little pivot and gets the penny for a double play. So now all of a sudden the threat becomes somewhat a little bit more manageable for you. So how big was that pitch and that play for your middle infielders to make it right there?
Huge. That play is exactly what needed to happen. I didn't want a ground ball, honestly, because I knew if I had thrown the ground ball, a run was going to score. So, I mean, in your head, you're like, I'd really rather not have the ground ball. I'd like to have a short pop-up, and that's exactly what we got. Infield fly would be perfect, exactly like that. So that was huge. I really needed that, and that really set the tone for that inning. I needed to get it.
And you saw there, you gave a nice big fist pump when they came up with that double play, so you could see a little bit of the relief. Out of all the pitchers, I think you might be probably the most visually emotional on the mound.
Yes, me and Riley Glenn are probably two of the more emotional. We show it a lot.
So you get that, and then you get out of the inning you walk the next guy. You get out of the inning with an F7, and so you're still tied. You come out even with that, which is probably I guess you probably would have liked to throw up zeros right away, but allowing just one run and a bases loaded jam coming into the game, probably the best situation you can hope for.
I was completely content with that. I was not worried because like I said, I know our hitters were going to put up runs.
And you did guys go out and do that, and I think you build up a 6-4 lead by the time that you exit the game. But you go on and you pitch 4 innings, and like I said, this is a guy that led the nation in appearances, heavily used during the regular season, but you gave your longest performance of the season longest performance of your career, I think, up until that point.
Yeah.
In this game, and the biggest spot of the season and of your career.
Yeah.
And not only that, but you seem to get stronger as it went on.
Yes.
They got the one hit, and that was it. After that, you hit a batter in the 6th, and he got stranded on first base. You struck out the next 2 guys and got the next guy to fell out. So in the 5th, you got a couple pop-ups, and you got a couple of strikeouts in the 6th, and in the 7th, you go 1-2-3 with another soft pop-up to short and a second, and then we're gonna skip ahead. We're gonna skip ahead here into your last batter.
Yeah.
So what are you thinking, I guess, as I'm doing this, as you're kind of cruising through these innings and you guys build a lead? What's your mindset now changing? How is it changing from the way you came in?
I knew in this last inning that this was my last inning. Coaches have both said that this is your last. We need you to get us to the point where we can get Garcia in. And that's been that was the whole entire season. It was get us to a point where we can get Garcia in to close the door. And I knew that I needed to do these last 3 outs. I was going to give it all in my last 3 outs for this game. And I really just went into that. Like, I got this. Like, I really felt confident at that point. Because I had gotten my feet wet in the first game. And then after getting out of that huge jam, I mean, my ego was definitely boosted at that point right there.
Rightfully so. And so you get in this last inning here. So like you're in your 4th inning, deepest you'd pitch in this time part of your career. You're cruising along though, and you got this guy on the ropes, and I think you're gonna drop a slider in here.
Yeah.
Freeze him up, and you can see nice little strut off the mound there. And I think
I've gotten a lot of
the commentators even gave a little comment on your strut, I think, about how noticeable it was. And your dad's sitting there, I think, right behind home plate, and he gives a nice little fist pump too.
I always make fun of him for that video. I've showed him that video before, and I mean, it's always the same reaction whenever I get out of a big inning like that. He always gets the fist pump, and I guess it's hereditary because I do the exact same thing,
So how do you feel? I mean, it's pretty obvious how you feel walking off the mound right there to anybody, but what's going through your mind, and what's kind of being said in the dugout as you get back to the steps?
Going through my mind was just like, all right. It was a big sigh of relief because I knew that was my last inning. I knew I was done for that day, and I was very relieved. And I knew that now the ball was in Garcia's hands, our All-American, and I knew at that point, like, this game's over. With a big thing that went through that whole entire season was that if we're ahead by the 6th, we were going to win that game. We had me, we had Garcia, and the game was going to be over. And that was a huge sigh of relief because I finally kind of broke the barrier of what I was usually doing to set myself up for this. And I mean, the morale in the dugout was very high. I mean, they were happy for me because I had actually done well and done something that I hadn't done before. And that was huge. And that really catapulted us to winning that game.
Now that was so you guys end up winning that 8-4. You get the win. Garcia gets the save.
Yeah.
And then you got to turn around and you got to play later in the day. You got to play UMass Boston, who who handled you pretty well earlier or the day before. So what was the mentality like after that Washington Jefferson win? You faced a little adversity, you fought through it, and you came out big winners there. Did you guys at any point did you feel that doubt or anything? I know you guys had confidence that you could win the whole thing when you arrived in Cedar Rapids. So did you feel any doubt at any point?
after that win, I think it really, like I said, it really catapulted us through the rest of the series. Going into that next game, I think we were kind of riding. We continued to ride that high of that Washington and Jefferson game, and we were confident in the fact that we had the pitching still. Like, we still had guys who were going to be able to do what we needed to do, and we still had our hitters who are now amped up that we just came and won that game. So I definitely don't think there was doubt. I think there was a lot of focus, a ton of focus on what our goal wanted to be, and that was to win the whole thing. And this kind of just even made us pinpoint even more in on that focus. So I mean, that Washington Jefferson game was huge to catapult us.
And I think your outing in particular, the eating up half of that game in 4 innings, and because if you really look at it, Peck has a bad outing and he only makes it through 2. Mason has a bad outing and only makes it through 3. And then you skip forward to the last day. Well, you go Peck and Mason, and they're a little bit fresher because they haven't thrown full starts since arriving in Cedar Rapids. That's
the cool part about baseball is you have guys. I mean, that's the cool part about people like Mason and Tyler that are both so like, hey, you know what? Flush that. Let's go focus on the next thing. And those are 2 guys that are perfect examples of that are just, and that's baseball. I mean, you're gonna have those bad outings, and they prove that it doesn't matter.
And the performances of you and Nick and guys like Briggs and Merrill out of the bullpen there in the game before kind of allowed that to happen, where the arms weren't eaten up, and you were able to be fresh going into that last day and ultimately walk away with the national championship. Yeah. So actually, you came around. So you pitched 4 innings, and you come and pitch later in the day. So you pitched 5 on June 2nd today, a year ago, and then I think it was in. You referenced this earlier, but I think it was in this game where you end up with a huge strikeout. And this is a game that we ended up winning in extra innings. Okay. And you get a huge strikeout to end the 1 inning, and you give the fist pump, and I think your dad's more excited than you are. There he is, Rick Turner, who is a great supporter of the program, involved parent, but a gift in the making that I'm glad I'm able to show right now. I think that's the one you were probably referencing earlier that you send to him all the time.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, where did you find the energy for that one? For, you pitch 4 innings, your arms got to be hanging a little bit, and then Lav says, "Hey, go get loose again."
It was more like
crazy.
It was more like, all right, I'm gonna throw one ball in the bullpen, and I'm going to go out there because I don't want to waste the little bit I have left, But, I mean, Lav was confident in me that he knew I could do one more, and he was confident enough that if he wants anybody out there at that moment, like, that I could do it, especially also because if I do this, then we still have arms left. And, I mean, going into it, I was like, all right, like, I'm just going to give all that I got this 1 inning, the rest of everything I had. And like I said about the other guys, I was definitely still riding off that high of the last game. So adrenaline was a big factor in that one. Just kind of get through it, throw strikes, let your defense play or make plays. And so I mean, I was definitely exhausted at that point, but also still very excited. So that helps.
You pitched the day after that too, so you slept and you came out and you gave us another one in that clincher, I think, or the one that put us in the championship series. So a little perspective from game 3. You, like you said, once you got to the 2 of you in the back of the bullpen, the game was over. Usually the other team gets 6 innings. In this case, they only got 3 because you went 4. And this is kind of what holds it true is Cody retired 10 of the last 11 batters he faced. And then Garcia went 1-2-3 in the 8th and 1-2-3 in the 9th. And so Washington and Jefferson, the last 16 of their last 17 batters went down. 1 got hit by a pitch, so you made him earn it the hard way to get on first. And that was it. So that is how dominant these 2 were out of the bullpen in that game. And that really is just indicative of what it was like all season long. And I think anybody that played Chapman in 2019 will tell you how difficult of a combo that was at the back end of the bullpen once you got through 6 innings. In the World Series, like I said, it got even better. I read your line earlier from postseason.
Yeah.
But in the World Series, you pitched 7 scoreless innings, allowed 2 hits in, I think, 4 appearances. Um, just incredible line and all tournament recognition for you at the end of it, rightfully so. So when you look back at that, I'm sure there's plenty of stories that you're gonna come out and tell your kids, your grandkids, all stuff in the next 60 years or whatever it is. But what sticks with you coming out of that? What images or feelings or what sticks with you from that whole experience and to really shove the way you did?
Yeah, the Washington Jefferson game 3 really does stick with me. I have that video saved in my phone. That was a big moment, and then the overall relief of that last game when we won it all. The sudden lift of the weight off your shoulder, we going halfway through that game, or when we scored all the runs in that game. We kind of sat back and we're like, wow, it's that's going to be hard to come back from, and so we had a good sense that we're going to win this game, but there's always that chance, and when that game ended and we had won it all, just a wave of all sorts of emotions, a wave of relief, of excitement, of also sadness because now our seniors are done, but that moment's going to stick with me forever, and then getting recognized for the all tournament team is also something that's definitely going to stick with me. Kind of reassured me that I'm good at this. I'm successful. I can play this game. So moments like that definitely stuck with me throughout this whole experience.
What'd you do with that ball that you got for all tournament or your ring? I guess. Did you do anything with them, or are they sitting in a drawer somewhere right now?
My ring's on my desk, but my dad actually has the ball in his office. He wanted the ball, so my dad's definitely one of my biggest fans, and he's definitely. You saw it, the fist pumps and the overall excitement, and he gets more nervous than I do, and so he's got the ball hanging in his office.
Well, that's probably a good thing. You're able to push some of the. No, he's nervous, so you don't have to wear the nerves as much, right?
Yes, exactly.
What was the key for this team? You guys didn't play in a whole lot of blowouts. You guys played in a lot of close games all year long. Teams that scored first often didn't win, and it's just something that happened. The team would score first, and we would come back and win, and it happened all year long. I want to say it's something like 7 walk-off wins over the course of the year.
Yeah.
What was the key to this team to be able to do that in a game one, but also you do look at a bigger picture? They came out of losers bracket to win the whole thing. What was the key to that?
The key to this team was that we had an overall it really was like a family, and we really felt that we loved we had a love for each other. We really didn't. The team chemistry was over the top, and I think that was the biggest key thing. That, and we had some of the best pitchers, some of the best hitters, and we rode with that. And I think those key things really helped in winning that national championship. And I think if we don't have one of those, we don't win. All those things had to work together, and that's what got us the win.
So last one, you fought through kind of a rocky start in game 3. You played extra innings in game 4. And then, you kind of rode that to a win in game 5 over UMass Boston to get to the championship series. And Birmingham Southern, on the other end of the bracket, had just kind of rolled into the series. They didn't face a ton of adversity, if I'm remembering correctly. Obviously, I'm sure they did somewhere along the way, but I didn't watch every game of theirs. But they had rolled through. They didn't lose anything. So what was your confidence like knowing that team looked like they were kind of riding high, and you guys had to kind of fight your way into it? What was your confidence like going into that championship series?
Confidence going into that was actually pretty good, just because we knew so much throughout the whole entire season was as this team, as soon as we were backed into a wall, we became that much better, And this team the Birmingham Southern didn't really understand that we weren't going to just lay over. You may have rolled through this nice and easily, but we had to fight hard, and we weren't just going to give it to them. We were going to make sure if we lost, they were going to earn it. And I think that our confidence going into that was very just gritty, and we were going to win this game.
Well, you guys did go in and you win it all, and you're holding on to the national trophy. And there's no 2020 tournament, so you're still champs. So you're gonna
You still
start
are.
out your.
Yeah.
And I know right now you'd rather be in Cedar Rapids, kind of claiming a second trophy and going
Yeah.
into your senior year with 2 trophies in your hands. But you will have a senior year to kind of come back and see if you can make it I guess a 3-year sweep repeat, if you want to, whatever you want to call it. But
Yeah.
and you moved into the rotation for your junior year here, so you're looking to stay in the rotation year as a senior as you guys kind of look forward to 2021.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially with Nick leaving. I mean, we're still going to be looking for another starter, but I'm definitely going to make sure I stay in the rotation, work hard, and continue to get better.
All right. Well, I know you're working out there with Nick as he prepares for the draft and everything. Are you guys as excited as he is to hear his name called in a really short draft? You're only going to hear a few names called. Are you excited to hear his?
We're definitely excited. I mean, this is one of our best friends, especially because we've lived with him now for 3 years. So he's definitely excited, and I think we're probably just as excited as he is.
Well, thanks for joining us, Cody. Like I said, we'd rather be in Cedar Rapids doing it all again this year. I know you guys had the confidence that you could end up back there this year and try to defend that title all the way to the end. But unfortunately, circumstances ended the way they did. But still, thanks for taking time to relive the last one. And hopefully we're doing this again in a year.
That was exciting. Thank you.
All right, man.
All right.
Bye.